do our part to socially distance. Thank you. Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us. I want to start by thanking CABVI President and CEO Ed Welsh and his whole team here at the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired for hosting us today. And I want to thank you for all the amazing work you're doing. It's inspiring and it's really necessary because the work you're doing right now is one of our greatest defenses against COVID-19. I also want to thank our Utica Mayor, Robert Palmieri, for joining me and for his work in supporting this community during this pandemic. There's no question that New York has been hit very hard by COVID-19, but New Yorkers are resilient, and we have shown time and time again that there's no challenge that we can't face if we do it together. That's especially true for our businesses. The team here at CABVI is case in point. The services they provide, the community they've created, and the jobs and independence they offer to people who are blind and visually impaired really makes a difference. It's no surprise that during this time of crisis, the work that they do was recognized as critical. They've stayed in operation throughout the pandemic, working to meet the rising demand for disinfectants, gloves, isolation gowns, disposable wipes that help essential and frontline workers stay safe so that they can take care of others. Their willingness to stay the course in a time of this crisis is admirable. It's also indicative of their dedication to their work, which has changed countless lives since CABVI opened in 1929. I share CABVI's mission to create opportunity and independence for people who are blind and visually impaired. That's why I've been advocating for COVID recovery plans that are inclusive and provide resources that will allow people with disabilities to continue to live independently. CABVI's commitment to their employees, dedication to the local community, and ability to deliver results shows why New York is one of the best places in the country for manufacturing. That's why I've been fighting to bring more jobs back to New York from overseas. For too long, companies have been given tax incentives to move facilities overseas. They're being rewarded for leaving thousands of New Yorkers and millions of Americans without a job, and that is not right. We need to rework the system so that companies are rewarded for bringing jobs back to America. My bill, Ending Outsourcing Act, would do exactly that. It would prohibit companies who outsource from using federal tax incentives like tax breaks and federal contracts, and ensure that federal contracts, grants, and loans go to companies that employ Americans. And it would create an incentive for companies to bring jobs back to the United States by offering a 20% tax credit to offset the cost of permit fees, leases, and other expenses associated with relocating a facility or jobs. This type of legislation is especially critical now, as more than 45 million Americans are out of work. That's why I've called on the Trump administration to include this bill in the next COVID package. As we refocus on rebuilding the American economy, we should focus on the American worker. We have to do everything we can to make sure that hardworking people in New York and across the entire country are not left behind. And that's why it's critical that as a country, we invest in worker training like CABVI does. It will help people who are out of work get the skills they need, career navigation assistance, and other services as they re-enter the workforce as quickly as possible. The Relaunching America's Workforce Act calls for $15 billion of funding for workforce training, for the infrastructure to provide it, and I'm pushing to make sure that's included in the next package. Groups like CABVI have shown us not only what American manufacturers are capable of, but the critical role they play in supporting the local economy and local businesses. I will keep fighting to make sure that manufacturing is at the heart of our recovery plans. During these very challenging times, I know that we have everything it takes to build a brighter future right here in New York. I'd now like to introduce Ed Welsh, the President and CEO of CABVI, for his remarks, and then Mayor Palmieri, Mayor of Utica.
Good morning, everyone. We appreciate you all being here, but most importantly, we're so grateful to have the Senator here. Senator's schedule is generally almost not her own. She has to be in a million places at once, and we're just so proud and pleased to be able to have one of the places she could visit with us, especially today. Also want to thank our Mayor, Rob Palmieri, who's our great leader in this city and has done much to help the city move forward. Certainly a great friend of CABVI, and we're grateful he's here today and all the work he has done for our city. On behalf of the people we serve, our boards of directors and our employees, I'd like to thank you all for visiting today and recognizing the role of our workers to fight the slow of the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Our all-American workforce seriously takes its duties to manufacture and package the highest quality of personal protective equipment. We're proud of our efforts to protect the citizens and frontline workers, especially healthcare workers who are out there fighting this every day. For those of you that may not know, CABVI supplies personal protective equipment to a multitude of federal and state agencies: gloves, disposable wipes, disinfectants, face masks, sanitizers, and several other items. And it's something we do every day. And we're equally aware of our duty to keep the workplace safe. We've developed a plan of action that would keep CABVI producing essential items, products, while maintaining our workplace safety here. And we have many employees that live with a myriad of medical issues that could sideline them at any time. Yet they come to work throughout all of this without hesitation. And they actually bristled when we advised them that maybe they need to be quarantined for some reason. These are very brave, dedicated people with purpose. When our vision rehabilitation staff could not deliver face-to-face services, they implemented services in counseling over the phone and video counseling. That together, we kept our business running, reaching out to all of our clients, all of our employees, and the community. Our people here are second to none, and I'm grateful to be here working with them, and grateful for all of you for coming today. Before I finish my remarks, I want to introduce our chairman of our board, Mr. Jim Turnbull. He was able to join us today. And Jim's been with the agency a long time. So, and we appreciate his leadership here at the agency. The agency runs on volunteers besides our staff, and we've got a lot of great ones. At this time, I'd like to introduce our mayor, Rob Palmieri. Say a few words.
Thank you.
Senator.
I will keep it short because obviously we've heard from the senator and we've heard from the CEO. And I'm just here to say that during this pandemic, where other companies were kind of willing what to do and how to do it and how to survive, CABVI was already up and running. And to the senator's legislation, as far as outsourcing, there's no other place to source but right here in America, right here in Utica, New York. So the legislation she puts forward for training is so imperative at this point in time because we've come to understand that we can't depend on anybody but ourselves. And the fact that we have a senator who comes here on a regular basis and fights for all of our needs and understands our needs. That's more important, that she understands what the needs are. She dives into the topics, into the problems, and looks for solutions. The fact that, as you have said, what CABVI has done and what we are seeing out there with the PPE that's going on, I encourage our senator to continue to fight for not only New York State, but our area, but for our nation. And I continue to look for, we do need to outsource. We could do it right here in-house, right here in the city of Utica with CABVI and all the great people that are working under you. So it's an honor to be here in front of two wonderful, great people who are consistently working hard to making this a blue chip area and looking for us to be different than any other community and bringing it back home. So thank you.
Any questions?
Senator, can you talk about the timeliness of this legislation?
It's really important. You know, one of the advocates here brought up the fact that the gloves that are made here, that are packaged here, they're only made in one place in the United States. that sounds like a national security risk. So I would like us to be able to amplify what's being done here and to have those operations be expanded. That would make a difference because obviously we don't want to be beholden to China for anything we need during a pandemic. And we've really found that we have a lack in our supply chain for allowing America to buy American. So we need more production, more manufacturing, and so this legislation is very timely.
Are there any other specific fields of products, I guess, that you see really need to start being manufactured in our country?
Testing. A lot of the testing components we get from abroad, and the biggest challenge we've had in really defeating COVID is having enough testing. We should be able to test 100 million people a month, and we're not even close to that. If we want to end COVID and we want to protect our kids, our schools, our seniors, our vulnerable populations, we need universal testing. And we don't have the equipment manufactured in America to provide that. And it's a problem, because if you have a week delay for getting your test results, then how is contact tracing possibly going to work? You've just spread something for a whole week. So we need universal testing, and we need all the manufacturing for that right here in America. Any other questions? Well, thank you all for coming, and again, for the people who work here and for the advocates who joined us, you guys are amazing, and I'm extremely grateful for the vision and the leadership you provide by being such great role models. Thank you very much.